Hey guys, today we're taking a look at this guy, the Zoids wild Triceradogos. I'm going to unbox the kit, show you how it's built, and then we're taking a look at it in action.
All right, let's see what we've got here. As you can see, the box is pretty big. My guess is that has more to do with the complexity than the size of the kit. On the back here, we've got, the usual bone mode, regular mode, wild blast mode. Seems to be a lot of paddle lining done on the official, build version of this. Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary on the sides or anything. I think we've seen enough of these boxes by now. Let's just get this cracked open, shall we? So, we have a little sliding insert like on the Brachiosaurus here. So I'm glad I opened this on camera. Boom, there goes the box. Okay, so here's the instruction booklet. Let's get this out of the back this time. Yeah, looks like a pretty long build, but nothing out of the ordinary going on with the instructions. We have a big, huge A back. This, as you can see here, this goes at least until 4. We have the B back with the armor, which, as usual, is a little on the, I don't know, small side. And that's the S back, caps, mechanical stuff. Oh, there's 2 things here. Interesting. Let's see. Obviously, this is the gearbox. That looks to be a Brachiosaurus size gearbox, actually, just without the extra stuff on it. And then there's, you see this? There's this thing. I mean, you can see this sort of drill piece here, or whatever that actually is supposed to be. Wow, that's a whole other separate gearbox. Let's take a look at this. I almost thought this was like a battery casing, but it's not, because it looks like, this looks like a screw was originally meant to go on there or something. Yeah, no, this is just a big ass mechanism. Oh, a screw. This is okay. Yeah, sure. I mean, this is where this gear goes. So this is gonna go on top like that. And this is just a big, huge mechanism that drives them. Whatever the wild blast mode does. So it's a bit like the wild liger that way, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna get the stuff out of the back so that we can take a look at it, and yeah. Okay, so there's way too much stuff in these bags for me to just lay it out all on the table like I usually do. So we're gonna take a look at them one at a time. This is A1, and it contains the torso halves and what appears to be 2 legs. Yeah, lots of nice detail here. I like these rotating fans. These are kind of an unusual detail for a Zoids Wild kit. They don't usually. Yeah, I think they're just supposed to match other things on the armor. I think that's why they're on here. So, torso. Here we have A2, which contains, of course, this thing, which is going to drive the leg movement. This is probably the tail. Another pair of legs, evidently. Mechanical stuff. I don't know. I'm guessing this is all for the tail. And here's the second one of these. This is very typical Zoids Wild stuff, actually. A3 has a lot of small parts. This, I have no idea what this is going to do. Interesting. Oh, this is probably like the big sort of bone plates for the neck, if I had to guess. This looks like the head. And then we have a couple more, excuse me, a couple more small parts here that are going to be more like mechanical stuff. This is all in the usual sort of gunmetal-ish color, by the way. Also kind of marbled. Finally, A4. I can't remember if this is the highest number of A-backs in the Zoids Wild kit. I'd have to check the Brachiosaurus. These are silver, see? They're much lighter color than these. We've had that color separation on other kits before. This is a foot, more feet, some sort of mechanical greebly. This is gonna, I'm guessing this goes over the power switch somehow. It's another blade or something, and yeah, I guess we'll find out what this is. B contains, of course, all of the armor, which, oh god, yeah, this is very yellow. You know, looking at this now, I'm seriously thinking I might actually step a little out of character for how I've been building these so far and give these guys at least a panel lining, because man, they're screaming for it. Yeah, and then lots of these, you know, these little circles with grooves, and these, and more circles and rivets, and more slits and circles, and more circles and more slits and more rivets. And yeah, I mean, this obviously, also, I mentioned this when I was looking at the box, right? This is obviously meant to be painted somehow, and I really think I may actually, for the first time, have to not build one of these completely straight, just because of the way that looks. Oh look, the caps are in a separate bag here. Yeah, more mechanical stuff, nothing out of the ordinary here. The eyes, the pilot, the sticker. This is a Freedom Zoid, so it has the Pokemon logo. Also the pilot's name is, oh, this is kind of cool. Look, if you look at the, this is the pilot's name, Kyoza, I guess. And the the K looks like a Triceratops head. That's pretty cool. Yeah, other than that, the usual mechanical pieces in here. This one looks interesting, but anyway, yeah, let's get building. Okay, so first of all, the instructions for some reason are showing me how this works. Did that just pop out automatically? Oh, it did. I just found out about that. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is how you put it in Wild Blast mode. Obviously, you flip this up, and then some sort of, you know, spring-loaded mechanism makes it pop out. No comment. So let's get the S back here, because the first thing we're supposed to do, as per the instructions, is actually not putting the crank pieces on the gearbox, but this L-shaped piece goes on here, like so. By the way, I didn't mention this in the unboxing, but we've got us another Daddy Longlegs pilot here, like on the Brachiosaurus. This looks so weird. Okay, let me turn this page on the instructions. Okay, now we crank it up. It's the gearbox. Put these on. Preferably off camera, of course, as usual. And this guy, as I suspected, goes on the power switch. Now, Oh yeah, of course. Now we attach this to this, and the instructions are telling me that there's something I need to watch out for with, oh, okay. Excuse me. Did I just burp on camera? This here needs to be behind this. There's this little tab that's obviously going to move as it walks and trigger something. I don't see what it does right now, but I'm sure we'll find out, won't we? Okay, now one half of the torso, and I do believe I just grabbed the right piece on the first try. The last time that's going to happen during this build, or I'm just going to have a really difficult time attaching it. In my defense, though, I already mentioned this in the review of the Knuckle Kong. The thing is that Takara Tomi's plastic is a bit really on the soft side, which is fine because it means it's not going to break easily. But what it also means is that when you're sticking the pieces together, sometimes it's really difficult to tell if you're not seeing the pegs and the holes that they're meant to go into. It's a little difficult to tell what's going on sometimes, just because the parts are so soft and it feels like they're just sort of mushing around as you're attaching them. Okay, so this is the actual power switch here, obviously. As I turn the page in the instructions, so you see here, this turns it on and off. Now we need this piece, and it goes. Okay, the instructions are telling me that these need to be pointing backwards. These need to be pointing backwards as I'm attaching this, probably so that I have space to put it in, I guess. Okay, that looks correct. Yep. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So you see, this needs to be in front of this. Now, second half of the torso assembly. Hold on. There we go. Man, I hope I got this right. I do not want to have to pry this crap apart again. All right, that's the torso. Now, I am looking for a part called A5, yeah? A5, yeah? Which is one of those greeblies that earlier I was looking at and said, I don't know what that's going to do, but we're going to find out. And it goes on here to hold these pieces together. And I am digging through my parts off camera and probably boring the crap out of everyone right now because I can't find it. I do know I have it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yeah, for some reason I was thinking I was looking for a gunmetal piece. So this goes on here. A nice little detail. And then this, which I actually thought was like crest armor, actually isn't. It goes on the back just to kind of close things up and make this look a bit more finished, I guess. This would be nice to like paint a different color maybe. Okay. Next page. Oh, legs. Okay, hold on. So let's see. This one and the feet. Right. This foot goes in here. Okay. And now I forgot to open the back with the cap, so let me do that, and maybe not slice my thumb in the process. That would be good. If we could, you know, like not bleed on camera. Although there's an idea for a video series. Modelers stabbing themselves. That should be a channel. Someone make it happen, not me. Okay. This is, you know, the way these usually go together. Now there's some sort of mechanical piece, A11. This one, right? That goes here. This threads through here and then drives something, I'm sure. A12, that's one of those rib cage pieces, and it goes on here. Okay, like so. And step 14 is the legs. This is the front leg here, and it requires 2 caps, one here and one here. Oh, did I forget to complain that the legs aren't jointed? The legs aren't jointed and it sucks. One day, man. I haven't given up hope just yet. All right, now the other 2 legs. This should be a bit easier to figure out now that I know what they're supposed to look like. This is a hind leg, so it gets the big foot. Big foot. This is a front leg, and it gets little foot. Bigfoot's evil twin, Littlefoot, who's always angry because he's little. And then, of course, oh look, this is gonna, I didn't notice this on the other one. This is gonna make the tail swing side to side, no doubt. Okay. And cappening here and here. And this one here. Oops. I'm sorry, I've never built a Zoid before. I don't know how to put on a rubber cap. Okay, that's it. Now I've got 2 caps left, so I'm guessing that's it with the rubber caps for this build. Alrighty, next we put this on, and then we move on to the, okay, you know what? This is ridiculous. You see this? I'm gonna get rid of this. Now check this out. Little trick I figured out 20 years ago. If you scrape it a little with your fingernail, it actually makes the stress discoloration a little less obvious. Okay, this for some reason attaches here, and for some reason we're supposed to do this before we start assembling the tail, which is what we are going to do right now. A 20. This is later. This is the tip, or is it? Oh, no, actually, no. This piece gets these 2, right? Yep. This one and this one sandwiches on top of it. I mean, next to it. I really, really wish they'd stop doing that. Seam lines everywhere, all the time, you know, because of all these pieces that sandwich together horizontally. like the armor halves on the head of every single one of these kits. Okay, now the actual mechanism. This goes on like this, and that goes on like that, and it's meant to, right, actually click in place like so. And now we have, oh, check this out, a really nice old school tail swinging mechanism. I wish there was a lever to actually move this one. This just sort of flops around with the rest of it. Not very convincingly, I have to say. Okay, that's the tail, which we now attach to the torso. So, let's pin the tail on the Triceratops. Okay, see, it rests against these pieces here, because obviously that's how it's going to swing side to side. Now, head. This one foist. Remember how I said it was going to be the last time that I immediately grabbed the right piece during this build? Like this. Right. And this one goes on like this. Come on. Okay. Seam line from hell. Look at that. Oh crap. I forgot something. Okay. Let me pry this back off. So here's what I forgot. There's a horn that is meant to go on here like that. Pointing straight forward like on the map Thunder. I like that. Okay, now we put the second half of the head on. Okay. Yep, that's it. A nice little detail poking through here. That looks pretty cool. Okay, so we put this aside for the moment because now comes the part where I get it wrong, which of these fits on which about 11 billion times. Okay, so the horn pieces are identical, which means actually I can't get this wrong, but I can get it upside down though. No, like that. And like that. Okay. Never mind, false alarm. But pretty much the only thing I'm trusting myself to do here anymore is to just an ass of myself. Making an ass of myself. That's the only thing I know for sure. Okay, so these horns are, I guess they're meant to be sort of posable, but anyway, they're supposed to point up like that. Okay, that's it. Interesting, these are like pointing up at a 45-degree angle, and this one points straight forward. Pretty sure that's not anatomically correct, but then again, I'm not a paleontologist, you know, like a dinosaur scientist, so what do I know? This goes on here. It's a little fragile. Be careful. This one goes on this side, and according to the instruction, this buon modo des double exclamation mark. Okay, so we're done with bone mode. And according to the instructions, you can actually wild blast mode it in bone mode because, of course, this already works. We're not going to do that though. I don't have a battery in right now, so I'm just gonna continue building here. And for some reason, the first armor pieces that we are meant to attach are the ones on the tail, like that. And there's 3 holes here, and this piece has 2 pegs. And then one of them just sort of pokes out like that. That makes very little sense to me. Okay. So back armor. See, this is one of those cases where if this were a Bondi kit, I wouldn't have this problem because the plastic wouldn't be so brittle. But it's just like if you're trying to navigate like without seeing, like am I hitting the peg, you know? It's just, for some reason, it's really hard to tell. I mean, for some reason, it's really hard to tell because the plastic is so soft. That's the reason. Okay, leg armor. That would be these 2 and these 2. And we begin on this side with this piece, which attaches here. Yeah, I am so panel lining this stuff. Okay, that goes on here. Same thing on this side. And by the way, I don't mean to say in any way, shape, or form that Gunpla kits are superior to motorized Zoids. When I say this stuff about Bondi plastic, of course, motorized Zoids are the greatest model kits in the universe, and nothing better will ever be invented. Wow, interesting. Oh no, that's just, there's a mistake in the instructions. See, here, you see this here? This looks like these are supposed to be holes, but obviously they're not. But then in the next step, they actually are filled in. So that's just a mistake. I was wondering if maybe these, you know, were originally going to have holes in them, and now they don't, or something. Okay, so that's that neck armor. Now, more. This goes here somehow, except for the whole thing where I can't get it to fit. But you know, you slide it in like that. Oh, here we go. More like something that clicks into place, I guess. Okay, here we go. Next page. These 2. Like so. Again, number of pegs and number of holes doesn't match up. All right, next. Now I've got these left, and then I've got the eyes and the head armor, and then we're actually done. Although I'm going to whip out the Gundam markers as soon as I'm done snapping all this together, because this really just, it so obviously is going to look a million times better with like a 10-minute panel lining job that I can't resist. Here we go. And that snaps into place like that. Okay. And finally the eyes. Oh God, here we go again. Oh look, these have like completely different looking pegs. Honestly, I'm guessing someone told Takara Tomi's designers that nobody can tell these freaking eyes apart, and they have to figure something out to make this easier. So I guess I'm not the only one who has this problem, huh? Okay, see? And now because they have two different pegs, it's totally easy, and you just snap them in place, and none of that fiddling and even having to turn off the camera. Okay, this one goes on here. Really? I guess that's correct. Yeah, and we're done, except for the pilot. And the pilot actually sits here behind the switch for wild blast mode, like that. Seriously, that's it. But if I put them in like that, then I can't get the switch back down. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take another look at that afterwards. For now, we're done. Yeah, that's what this guy looks like. Before I film this thing walking, though, yeah, I am definitely going to whip out the brown Gundam marker real quick, because this will only take like 10 minutes, and do some panel lining on this, just like the really obvious stuff, all these like these rivets and these round things and these grooves here. So I'll be back in a second with a fully panel lined Triceradogos in action.
And here's what that looks like. Lots going on here. The mouth opens and closes, the neck bone plates move, the tail swings side to side, and of course Wild Blast mode kicks in on its own and looks pretty damn cool. I also find, just generally, that the movement of the Zoid seems more solid somehow. I don't know if I can really explain that, but it just seems more deliberate and less shaky than some of the others. I guess it just works really well. What I don't understand is the purpose of that switch on the back that releases the Wild Blast mode contraption. If you lock that in place and turn the Zoid on, it just stops and starts clicking when the Wild Blast kicks in, so I don't see why it even has a locked setting. You're obviously not supposed to lock it. Anyway, because I can and because I like to show off my 80s Zoids, here's a comparison shot with the greatest of them all. Obviously the Triceradogos looks pretty puny by comparison. And here's a comparison that maybe makes a bit more sense. As you can see, he's also quite a bit smaller than the Brachiosaurus, but still pretty bulky for a Zoids wild kit. By the way, in case you can't tell, I had kind of a hard time with the panel lining. I don't know what it is. I think maybe the plastic Takara Tomy uses is more porous, but you can't just wipe the Gundam marker off with a dry Q-tip, so I ended up having to use quite a bit of marker remover, and of course that made a mess. It's definitely an improvement over what it looks like completely bare, but it's not as clean as I would have liked it to be. Anyway, the verdict is I like this one. My one big complaint is the proportions. The head on the Zoid is definitely way too big and it makes it look like a hedgehog dressed up as a Triceratops or something. Big head just equals baby proportions, and I pretty much knew I wasn't going to like it as soon as I saw the pictures. In terms of detail and engineering, though, this is definitely a good kit, and I'm really impressed with the movement, both the way it walks and its Wild Blast mode. And best of all, the Wild Blast doesn't come at a cost for pretty much anything else. It looks good either way. If they can keep up this quality of engineering and rein in some of the more questionable choices in terms of proportions, the next bunch of kits should be awesome. And that's it for this one. I had fun making this, so I hope you had fun watching it. Like, comment, and subscribe, please, and I'll be back soon with something. I actually don't know what I'm doing next.